So this short video will help you undertake an install for ArcGIS Pro. So in your browser you can just type in arcgis.com and that will take you to their product page. Hit the See Setup Guides and then choose Set Up ArcGIS Pro. Now the current version being installed in the labs is version 2.8. This of course will change over time, so if you're watching this video in the future, just select whatever the current version is in the lab. The installs that you'll find below this video will always be those associated with what's currently in the lab. Don't go to the download, because that's going to forward you through to My Esri, and students don't have access to the My Esri. So if you prefer to follow textual installs, then you can follow through the list here. But why we came here was because we need to check what our system requirements are. So if we go to system requirement, then it gives you which operating systems are suitable. So pretty much anything on Windows 10 or even the old Windows 8.1. Gives you an idea of what hardware it expects. So you can get away with 8 gig, but it recommends 16 gig of memory, but 32 is optimal. Also dedicated graphics memory, not a shared. So if you're on a laptop, sometimes laptops have got shared memory and you won't get such a good result. As we scroll down, you'll see that it requires the Microsoft.NET framework. So we'll follow that link in a minute when we get to the bottom of the page. If you're using the ArcGIS Online license, so when you have an ArcGIS Online account, you automatically get a named user license. So that link will take you through to where you can do that. If for on campus, we use the concurrent use license, but for most of you, you'll be using the cloud-based license. So we want to go to the Microsoft.NET Framework 4.8, and we can download either the developer or the runtime. We only need the runtime, so we'll click on the runtime and it should pop up a window and want to download. So I'm just going to drop this on my D drive. Now that it's finished downloading, I can open it up. So now it's going to open up a wizard. Just agree, and that will go through and complete the install for us. Now, even if you're installing version 2.4, it won't do any harm to go through and do the install of the framework for 4.8, and that'll mean that your laptop will be ready to run the 2.5 version as soon as I can finish testing it and make sure it does what we want it to do. Okay, so that's now finished the install, and we're ready to get started on the ArcGIS Pro install as soon as we've rebooted the computer. So for the ArcGIS, we're going to use Pro. In this case, I'm installing 2.5, and open that up. Now this is a very slow laptop that I'm doing the install on. It's only got 2 processors and a small amount of memory, but it's the only computer I've got that doesn't have ArcGIS already installed. Okay, so the first destination folder is where it's going to unzip or decompress the software, and this is where the problem lies for doing installs where you've only got a very small partition, because it's going to consume a certain amount of space to extract the program in the first place before it runs the install. So one thing you'll want to remember is once you've completed the install is to go back to that folder and delete the install files from the directory. So once it's finished unzipping, we can now go through with the install. Need to accept the agreement, set it up for anyone. Now it's going to drop it into that location, which is acceptable. And I would suggest for your home computer or laptop unchecking the Esri user experience program, because it's going to be sending information to and fro to Esri. So you don't want to be using UpCap to do that. And then we'll just say install. So now it's going to sit down and go through the install process for all of the Forward Pro software. Okay, so that install is now finished, and we can run ArcGIS Pro. Okay, now that it's come up, we can log in using our ArcGIS Online, or through here we need to put in Flinders Uni, ask it to remember the URL. So this is going to go directly then to our portal as opposed to logging in through the ArcGIS Online portal. So now you use the ArcGIS Online login. For yours it'll be Flinders Uni _ and then your fan. So the login that we've just used will pick up the license from ArcGIS Online, which means of course that you're going to have internet connected. Okay, so now we're into ArcGIS Pro. So we've used what they call the named user. So if we go into settings, under the about, it'll tell you which version you're running, and if there's any updates then they'll automatically turn up here. If you want to minimize the software's use of the internet, you can turn off the check for updates on startup, and that way you won't have to worry about it using the internet to access that information. So now we can go into licensing. So you'll see that I've got an advanced license and that I've got a whole number of extensions. And I'm picking up my license through the ArcGIS Online. We can also configure it by using the configure your license option, and you'll see up here this will become named user, and it's using our ArcGIS Online portal. We don't use the enterprise, although we're in the process of putting an enterprise version in. It's for the administrators at Flinders, not for student use. So I've been able to do that. So now that it's, whether it be a map, catalogue and so forth. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. That's how to do your ArcGIS Pro install and to set your license. Below this video you'll also see patches and other installs worth installing, like data interoperability or offline help.